I'm Margaret Wassig, the creator of the Golden Tone Technique, and this is my second video in a 10-part series of how to quickly jumpstart your piano playing. If you haven't seen video 1, please do so. I'm putting the link above, and that has to do with subtracting unnecessary movements because, guys, it's all about efficiency. We want to do it well. The piano is a huge instrument. It's a big piece of machinery. And today we're going to talk about the key thing inside the piano that you must know, because guess what? It's going to reflect how you play it and what movements you choose to make. And it's going to safeguard you from having problems with tendinitis and all sorts of issues that you, trust me, don't want. So let's say it's your first lesson. You've never played the piano before and you sit down in front of this big 88 note behemoth, and the question is, how do you play the piano? Well, chances are you'll put your hand down, your finger will press a key, and first note, check. But here's the thing, the piano is unlike other instruments because the sound seems to, and I say seems to, be ready-made, but it's not really ready-made. Think of a violinist. First lesson in a violin class, you have to learn how to produce sound, and it's a long process. You have to know how to hold the bow, how to hold the instrument, how to get the bow across the string, and it'll sound like chicken scratch for a long time. But with the piano, we don't have that problem because the notes, the sounds are already made. But are they? The point is, no, the sound is not ready-made. A good pianist must cultivate their tone. And the tone is the building block for your greatest piano playing. It's how you shape your note. So it's not only what note you play, it's how you play it. And that involves the physics of your body, how to create sound, how to do the right movement so that you're not hurting yourself, damaging yourself. And it also has to do with how to project your sound, how to get the right sound without, again, pushing it and making the piano sound less than optimal, because guess what? How you approach it, it will also reflect that on you. So if you approach it with a lot of pressure, it's going to reflect back to you a sound that is harsh. If you approach it mousy and timid, it's not going to give you any sound. The master of all this was the pedagogue Heinrich Neuhaus, who said very smartly that the first and primary step to how he teaches his pupils, and this was back in the 1800s, he works on them on cultivating their tone, their approach to the instrument. And if that wasn't set correctly, then there was no point even in learning anything else. What a far cry that is from where that philosophy lied over 100 years ago to where we are today, where a first lesson is usually about getting the student up and running with songs right away and technique. Without a full understanding of how to produce tone, you will never have technique. I repeat, without a full understanding of how to produce your tone, you will never have a solid technique. And that is the whole premise of the Golden Tone Technique method and what sets it apart from others. It is tone-based. And I myself, having suffered with tendinitis from doing it wrong for many years, had to relearn from scratch as an adult. And I did so using the forgotten methods of the past. And so if you are in a similar situation and want to improve your technique, but have run out of options, you've tried everything and nothing works, I really hope you do check out my 60-minute free tutorial. It's on goldentonetechnique.com. So how do we produce beautiful tone? Well, to really understand that, we have to understand the mechanics of our piano. It is, after all, a kind of machine. So let's get into it. Here I have the action model. This is what a key looks like inside your piano. This is called the action, voila. And if you know what to do here, you will influence what happens here. Let me put this down so we could get a better shot of this. So here we go. Here's the action. So when you press the key here, think of it like a seesaw. You press this down and this part goes up. And what is this? This is the hammer. This is the string. Well, it's not really a string, but pretend it is a string. The hammer hits the string. And this depends on how do you get the hammer to hit the string? Well, you press down and there's a series of motions inside here, meaning that this part here, which is called the jack, slides under this little yellow knob called the knuckle. And once that releases, something amazing happened. It took piano technology years and years to get this right. This is called the escapement. And so the jack literally escapes from under the knuckle and bam, the hammer hits the string like this. So the next question is, how do we control our tone? Well, here it is. If you play with too much force by pushing, you're going to hit a problem made of felt as the hammer. Now, if you took a tennis ball and you whacked it against the concrete, what would happen? It would reach its flex point, meaning it would start to behave in an erratic way. You would push it beyond its limits. And that's what happens to the hammer as well. So if you whack down on the key or play with too much force, too much weight, what's going to happen is your tone will suffer. And that means it'll sound metallic. It will sound harsh. It won't connect because why? You have pushed that hammer into overdrive. So what's a better way, you might ask? Well, a better way is to understand that for the mechanics to work properly, we don't use force. We don't use weight. We use something else. And I'll give you a hint. It starts with V. Velocity. Yes. How the tone is produced is not how much force, how much weight you press on the key, but how quickly you pass through the key in order to make your sound. It's as simple as that. If you can control the speed here, you will control your tone. And here are the benefits. Your tone will be juicy, ripe, filled with overtones, colors. It will carry. It will be exotic. It will be mesmerizing. It will be hypnotic. People will just ooh and ah and be like, what has just happened? This is something extraordinary. It's the ultimate way to play the piano because it feels so good on the body because you're not overdoing it. You're not stressing out your muscles. You're not creating tension in your forearms. You are activating the body to use natural laws, lightness in the arm. You're letting the bigger muscles of your back and shoulders do the work. And so all you have to do is be light in everything else, and it just magically comes together. Your sound emerges and connection comes, and guess what? Here's the biggest benefit on top of all that. You fall in love with your own tone. You actually enter a place, a sacred space where you are communing with your voice, your unique tone, because guess what? Your tone is unique to you. If you cultivate it right, nobody else will ever sound like you. Isn't that such a far cry from this need to copycat and sound like other people that you might hear on YouTube? You want to sound like them, but the greater gift is realizing what your unique sound is, and then you sound like you. You do you as only you can do. To learn more about the nuances of how to incorporate the lightness in your body to really start getting your tone to flourish and your technique to soar and your artistry to skyrocket, be sure to check out the free 60-minute tutorial. So now let me ask you, do you push on the keys? Do you use some other way of creating sound? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know, what is the way that you approach piano playing? Is this something you've ever thought of before? I'd love to know, and also, if you've experienced any pain, this might be a solution as well. So let me know in the chat if you've ever had tendonitis or issues like that too, and how this is a game changer for your piano playing. Thanks so much for joining me on this tutorial. I hope it's been of great value to you, because learning these techniques was what brought me out of the piano playing purgatory I was in with so much pain. So I hope it's been a blessing to you, and can't wait to see you on the next broadcast.